to the Houston Business Hour. We're starting our discussion. I've been telling people now for several days. Neil Bush was going to join me, the president's brother, and I imagine that's a normal part of your introduction. Neil Bush, or the former president's son.
Yeah, that's either that or Barbara Bush's favorite son. I don't know.
There you go. One of those things. We're delighted to have you with us, and you have done some things in your own right, including the starting of this business called Ignite Learning, and that's what our focus is going to be on today. But I got to tell you, coming from a family, and I can say this, and I will send this to my brother, of underachievers. You have a tough family to be a part of to a certain extent.
We have some hugely successful members of the Bush family in the political arena. My father, who kind of set the stage for all of us, was successful not just in politics, which is where he's most famous, but he started a business when he was a young man, was successful in the offshore drilling industry, and sold out to enter a life of public service. But his whole life, from his military service throughout business and public service, has been a phenomenally challenging steps to follow or shoes to fit into. He's an amazing man.
And in his own case, he didn't come from a real shabby family either, with his dad being a U.S. Senator.
Yeah, my grandfather was a businessman on Wall Street and became a U.S. Senator, and when there was a post left vacant in Connecticut, served for a term and served well with distinction, worked with Eisenhower at the time, and they built the highway system under his clock, and was a very accomplished man in both business and in public service as well, and a great model for my dad.
Now, and I want to mention to the listener out there that you can go to the What's New page at HoustonBusinessHour.com, and we have a link to Ignite Learning, so we don't deluge them with a bunch of different links, but IgniteLearning.com is a direct source if you want to go. And I got the great opportunity to spend about an hour with you. I appreciate you letting me visit with you, and really, there's a story behind Ignite Learning that you talked a little bit about, and reasons beyond financial motivation, which is always really important for any successful entrepreneurial endeavor, in my opinion. Tell us that story.
Well, first of all, if I wanted to build a business based on pure financial considerations and kind of market indications, etc., I probably wouldn't have picked education. Mm-hmm. It's a very challenging marketplace to enter in any kind of a venture. There's been kind of a graveyard of ventures that have started and failed. My motivation and what passionately moves our team in Austin, Texas, and around the country is the idea that middle school, which is the focus of our curriculum development, really is disconnected with the 21st century kid. I came to that conclusion after being a parent, and as a student. We've all gone through that experience of being middle school kids. But I was observing my three kids, two daughters and a son. The two daughters were the perfect little angels. You know, they came home, did the homework, they were compliant in schools, and never got a bad mark or a bad reference from teachers. And in between those two beautiful angels is a very kind of active boy, a hunter warrior son named Pierce, whose only problem really was one of problem and disconnectedness in retrospect. The school he went to tried to cite that he was ADD, wanted to put him on drugs, which is a typical kind of knee-jerk reaction to kids that aren't sitting compliantly in the classroom.
Solves all kinds of problems for them.
It does.
Not necessarily for the family.
It does, and my heart goes out to parents who have those kinds of kids, because you want them to do well, you want them to succeed, but we're putting them into a classroom environment where they can't succeed, honestly, where you can't expect children to sit compliantly in a classroom where the lecture, the textbook, and the chalk and the chalkboard really aren't connecting with their 21st century senses. Mm-hmm. And so we did a lot of work in trying to figure out what to do with Pierce. He refused to take Ritalin and Adderall, and found a place in Georgia that did a comprehensive study of his learning styles, and came back with a very refreshing conclusion that he's very gifted, very talented, and you can see that in many ways. He reflects that gift in